Y que viva nuestra unión, viva huelga general. El día 8 de septiembre de los campos de Deleno salieron los filipinos a Wuhan, y después de 2 semanas para unirse a la batalla salieron los mexicanos. ¡Viva mi raza que sí! Y juntos vamos cumpliendo con la marcha de la historia para liberar al pueblo. Viva la revolución y que viva nuestra unión, viva huelga en general. Viva la huelga en el fin, viva la causa en la historia, la raza llena de gloria, la victoria. Llegando a los files se ven los esquiroles, se esconden de las minas al no oír la verdad. Nosotros les pedimos muy honradamente que si son valientes se salgan de allí. Corran, corran esquiroles y no dejen de correr, que muy pronto los huelguistas ya los van a convencer. Hermanos y campesinos, aquí les vengo a cantar. Les hablo de Cesar Chavez, un canto de nuestra unidad. Y eres una gota de agua y solo te has de secar, pero el pueblo...
It's my pleasure to introduce a maverick in our great state, a man who has a well-established career in education, as you just heard, which has led to his current role as the first Latino chancellor of our college system, which serves over 2.4 million students in California and is the nation's largest higher education system. Chancellor Eloy Ortiz Oakley began his role in December, leading the charge to provide quality, affordability, accessibility, diversity, and student success. These are at the very core of community colleges, and it makes our state stronger, especially now, in the political climate that we are living in. As the first Latino chancellor, he is providing leadership to a system that our nation needs more than ever. Our community college system provides pathways to empowerment, prosperity, and engagement for a segment of society often neglected by others. Colleges that not only go beyond filling the gap between the haves and the have-nots, but by filling the gap with educational excellence that provide our students an avenue to success. Our community colleges serve the underserved, who can least afford it, who find access to education filled with real and or imaginary roadblocks.
Good evening, especially on this Cesar Chavez holiday. Of course, it doesn't exist everywhere and for everyone, unfortunately. And certainly my hope, and I know the hope of most everyone in this room, that ultimately we'll get to the point where this is a holiday for everyone. I somewhat coincidentally received a message, a text from a county employee who was off today, thanks to the fact that some years ago, led by Blanca Alvarado, former Supervisor Blanca Alvarado, the county made this a paid holiday for county workers here in the county of Santa Clara. I stopped at my credit union today, and I was very pleased to see a sign on the door. I didn't even complain, closed today. This may not be something that you would see just a few years ago. And I was on the San Jose City Council when then Mayor Ron Gonzalez came to us, actually approached 2 of us council members in Cesar Chavez Plaza in downtown San Jose during the Juneteenth festival and said, I am coming to the city council to declare Cesar Chavez holiday in the city of San Jose. And of course that was accomplished as well. But this message I got is very poignant from a county worker who was off today, who took a little road trip down south of here on a day off, a paid day off. And this is what it says: as we passed through Gilroy, my husband pointed out the irony that government workers had Cesar Chavez Day off, yet workers in the fields do not. So the work that we need to do lies right before our eyes, and we need not forget that. But the hope, I think much of the hope in the state of California is the leadership that we're seeing here in our local school districts and all the way up to the University of California Regents, where Chancellor Oakley serves, and of course the California State Community College system, which he was appointed to just recently as its chancellor, as we just heard. That is the hope, I believe, to the problem that the Public Policy Institute of California identified most recently, and that Victor Garza and many of those here who have led the Raza Roundtable identified a long time ago. And that is that we will experience a 1.1 million student supply shortage of college-educated workers by 2030. Well, it's just right around the corner. At that same time, more and more students of color are already starting to meet the A to G requirements, thanks to strong districts like Eastside Union and others all around the state who've made that mandatory. So those students of color are now becoming eligible for the University of the Californias and the CSUs that are turned away because of not enough seats. On top of that, our demographics are changing rapidly. The Latinos are now the so-called new majority, right? Truly the plurality of Californians here in the state of California. State demographics indicate that Latinos will account for about 49% of Californians during the lifetimes of students who are in school today. So though Latinos are making progress in getting a higher education, it seems that the current model will not be enough. It certainly is not seeming to create change quickly enough. But again, the hope is the new leadership that we have here today. So I think we're very privileged today to hear directly from Chancellor Oakley what he has in mind. This is a man who, well ahead of Bernie Sanders in early 2015, said this problem that I just described may require a revolution.
I was on the search committee to find the next chancellor. And it's so fitting today to be celebrating Cesar Chavez Day and having the first Latino chancellor to run a foundation, an organization, a community of 2.3 million students. The first in the state of California ever. That's him. And I say it's fitting because it's a lot of firsts, isn't it? In our lifetime, in your lifetime, in my lifetime, there's too many firsts. Always. There's always a first. And I'm tired of that. And I know you are too. And like that young lady who was right here, she's a student. And that's why we're all here. That's why we're all here, to make sure that all students have the same rights, the same equal opportunity under the law and under the educational system to be treated the same. And that's exactly what el Señor Cesar Chavez fought for. And the fight's not over. La causa continues. La lucha sigue. And with that, I want to introduce you to the first Latino chancellor of the state of California Community College System, Chancellor Eloy Oakley.
That was the longest introduction I've ever had. I'm going to carry you guys around wherever I go. In some
crowds, they'll also whisper, and he'll be the last. No, they won't. No, I won't be the last. Anyway, buenas tardes. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be in San Jose. And it's a pleasure to be with you all. An organization that I know has been dedicated for many, 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 many years to the success of our young people. I wouldn't be here but for the work that gentlemen like yourself have done for many, many, many years. So thank you on behalf of me and my children for everything that you've done for Californians, for Mexican Americans, for people of all walks of life. Thank you. First I'd like to say again, thank you for having me. It's been a joy being here. I've learned a lot about your organization in just a few minutes since being here. I've learned that I've got a brother from Eagle Pass, Texas, where my family is from. I've also learned that you have a Republican on your executive committee. Very well-dressed Republican. I see you have diversity here too. No, it's great. I've had a great time since I've been here. I also see that you have many of my friends coming in the next few months. You have Lupita coming. You have Dean Flores coming. Please tell them I came before them. I was first. Oh, they're all good friends. I'm not sure if that's because I have a lot of friends or there's only a few of us running around. I'm trying to figure out which one it is. Let me speak to you just for a little bit, and certainly if you all have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I mean, I'm not here to convince you that the work that we're doing is important. You all know it's important. I'm not going to bore you with all the terrible statistics that exist. The lack of success that Latinos and students of color from across California have in higher education. I'm blessed. I was very fortunate growing up in the Florence-Firestone district of LA to have had people around me who would pull me out of places that I shouldn't be in, rescue me from the LA County Sheriff's Department, or just pull me aside and try to give me a sense of what I was doing was not the right direction. And then, of course, when all else failed, I joined the Army. Spent 4 years getting my head straight. It was a blessed experience. Because for me, it gave me an opportunity to get some focus and come back knowing that I didn't want to work for people who had college degrees. I wanted to be that person who had the college degree. So after stumbling around, I found California Community College. I actually lived in Long Beach at the time, and I went to the college next door at Golden West College, and I wouldn't be here but for that opportunity. So that has always stuck with me. If someone like me, who, if you went back to St. Aloysius Grammar School and you asked, although most of the nuns who were there aren't there anymore, but if you asked Sister Diane, that this kid you had in 4th grade would be not only a graduate of the University of California, would be appointed to the Regents of the University of California, and then become the Chancellor of the California Community Colleges, she would not believe it. And so I was lucky. And my goal is to ensure that it doesn't require luck to be successful. It should be the nature of our systems to allow children to be successful. It should be the nature of our system to allow children who don't come from a family or a place where there's infrastructure that understands the importance of higher education to be able to navigate our higher education system and get through it. It shouldn't be the exception. It should be the expectation. That all of our children have an expectation and an opportunity to not only have access to a quality higher education, but to obtain a credential. Because to me, one thing that's become clear, and I'm sure to all of you here in San Jose and the greater Silicon Valley, you know that a high school diploma is not enough anymore to compete in this economy. I don't care if you're black, white, Asian, it doesn't matter. This economy discriminates against those who don't have a credential, period. And so this makes it even harder for students of color. We keep moving the goalposts. You know, we tell them, let's do everything we can to get more kids to graduate from high school. And this last year we had the highest high school graduation rates, you know, in the history of California. But guess what? We moved the goalposts. Now that's just the start. Now you've got to get a college credential. So then how do we change that dynamic? And I believe, and I know my good friends from the San Jose Evergreen Community College District share my opinion, that the best place to do that is in our community colleges. The best place to do that is in our community colleges, because we are in 113 communities up and down this state. We are at the center of every discussion with the K-12 system, with this Cal State University system, with the nonprofit sector, with organizations like yours, with workforce investment boards, with chambers. Community colleges are at the center. And I believe it is our responsibility to lead the conversation. Not to sit back and watch, but to actively, intentionally insert ourselves in the conversation. So that is what our agenda is going to be about going forward. I want our 113 colleges to have a clear focus on a social justice agenda, to be part of a conversation and to lead a conversation in 113 communities about access to quality public education, to demand from our K-12 system that we do more to help students, to engage with the K-12 system and our faculty, to help them better support students, to clear all of the barriers that we've created for these students in our colleges and allow them to have the experience of participating in higher education. Our colleges are the gateway to higher education for the greatest majority of Latinos in the nation. This is where they start. And we need to ensure that they not only start in our colleges, but they have the opportunity to finish. It's not enough anymore to gain access to our colleges. We've done that. We have over 2.1 million students in California's community colleges. Access is not the problem anymore, and I know many of you fought for that access. But now the goalpost has changed. Completion is the challenge. We have very few of our students completing a quality credential. Those students who come to our colleges and are placed in remedial courses, 2-3 levels below college level English or math, the chances of them succeeding are less than 10%. What I mean by succeeding, finishing a credential. So you think about what those odds mean to our communities, to communities like this. That's not good for the future of San Jose. That's not good for the future of Silicon Valley. That's not good for the future of California. So we're going to be working with strong leadership like Arnaldo to change the regulatory environment in California, to change the expectations we have of ourselves, to work more deeply with our K-12 districts, to work more deeply with the California State University system and the University of California, and change the dynamic. It isn't about improving the odds, it's about changing the odds. We have to quit playing on the margins, and we have to dig down and change the system. Because the system, the way it's been created, mostly unintentionally, sometimes I think intentionally, but it's been created in a way that does not support the types of students that we're talking about to complete quality college education. So this is easy to say, it is hard to do. So I look forward to working with organizations like yourselves and with my friends all throughout the social justice community to really work hard to make that change happen at scale. We have examples where it works in small scale. Programs like Puente, like EOPS, many others have shown great promise. But we have way too many students that we need to push through. We need it at scale. The college I came from, Long Beach City College, 80% diverse. My whole campus, all 30,000 of those students, should be in the Puente program. But the way we're organized, we can't scale up those practices. So we're going to try to change that. And that's going to mean having to take on different constituent groups that have vested interests in the way we do business today. We're going to have to change that. So you all are used to taking on fights. We're going to have to take on a few fights. As I said before to another group, I'm probably going to get less Christmas cards next year. But that's okay. That's okay. But there is hope. I believe there is hope. It's always amazing for me to even hear somebody say that I'm the first Latino chancellor, but I'm not only the first Latino chancellor, I'm the first Latino leader of any one of our higher education systems. So that's even more depressing. But there is hope. We have great leadership on the Board of Governors. Arnaldo, who you've met. Our board chair is Cecilia Estelan, a very strong Latina from Southern California who is committed to this agenda as well as a core group at the Board of Governors. And if you think about it as well, we have a moment in time, a window of opportunity. The pro tem is a Latina. The Speaker of the Assembly is a Latina. The chair of the Board of Regents of the University of California, Monica Lozano, is a Latina. The chair and the vice chair of the UC Academic and Education Committee, which oversees admissions, are two Latinos, Speaker Emeritus John Perez and myself. So we have a window of opportunity. And we've seen some success. We've seen work starting to really happen at scale. Things like the way that we place students in college level courses has begun to change now that we've made it clear that standardized placement exams disproportionately affect communities of color. We need to continue to push in that direction. We've seen this last class of admits to the University of California has been the most diverse in the university's history and has enrolled more Californians than at any time since World War II. So things are starting to happen. What we need to do is to put that change on steroids. It can't be just because a few of us are in leadership right now. It's got to be a systemic change that continues to move this momentum forward. So I look forward to working with all of you and continuing to push this momentum forward. It can't be about hope, it has to be about expectation. We must expect that our systems are going to change in a way that better supports learning for our students. It's not just a moral issue anymore, it's an economic issue. So maybe we'll finally get some traction, because California is not going to be able to succeed without a bunch of Latinos getting degrees in their hands. So that's just a fact. So thank you for all that you do. Thank you for the way that you support our local colleges and local college leaders. It's great to see the president from Evergreen and my good friend Dr. Breland from San Jose City. Worked for me for many years, so if you ever have a problem with him, give me a call. Yeah, you'll have no problem with Dr. Breland. He's a great, great leader. Anyway, so thank you again.
When you hear the name Cesar Chavez, what comes to mind? We remember the humble Mexican farmer who stood up for justice in a time when it didn't matter, using peaceful methods to make powerful changes in an unfair society, helping to change people's lives. People who were too insecure to stand up for themselves and do something about their abusive situation. No longer did they have to work for merely any pay. No longer did they have to endure the physical exhaustion from hard labor and deterioration from harmful pesticides. No longer did they go unnoticed. Not only did Chavez bring awareness to the world about their suffering by giving them all a voice to speak from, he was able to unite all types of people for one righteous cause and justice. Who would have thought a little boy born in a family of 6 would grow up to be a powerful figure in modern society? Someone who wasn't interested in fame, but instead in helping his brother out to feel better and be better in this world. Quitting school at an early age so that his own mother wouldn't have suffered extreme exhaustion. Or joining the Navy not only to serve and protect, but in hopes to get skills that could help others in his future. Now, Chavez didn't just want to help people, but instead for everyone to help each other, especially for the ones who have less, the ones who are suffering, the ones who are forgotten. So today, let's not just remember who he was and his accomplishments only on his holiday, but instead, let's honor his legacy every day by making our own contributions towards the fair society that he worked hard to get and that we want. How? Starting young, teaching our children that in order to be a real man and a real woman, it means to care, to give, and to help their brothers out. Remember, we can only do this by every single one of us setting the example for the children. So, let's ask ourselves, what am I doing to make the world a better place?
Volando con la